Hi again. So I'm gonna talk about more of the technical part here. I believe there is a lot of experts here is more into the technical part that I am, so I'm gonna just very briefly talk about this part. So string inverter via central inverters option for large-scale solar installations. As like the previous one, we are gonna take it to the 5 parts. First, I'm gonna talk about a little bit of the inverter. Well, inverter's major role of the inverter is to transfer the DC current into the AC current so we can actually use the electricity or can sell it for money. Well, inverter is actually a relatively small but very critical part of a very larger investment in PV energy system, consistent with like PV models and also other parts like the interconnection hardware or the other equipment. Well, about the PV system, I think all it matters is the ROI. PV inverter can support the maximization of the PV system ROI, return of investment, by optimizing the 4 key characters: reliability, bankability, and compliance. That is obviously regularity, complete, safe, and consistently reliable operation helps increase the ROI. And also the price, lower PV system capital cost helps increase the ROI for obviously. And also the high conversion efficiency, not wasting any power of the coming from the PV panel within the inverter helps also the return of the investment. And the higher harvest efficiency, which is the ability to extract the maximum amount power available from the PV array helps. So yeah. So this is like the 2 diagrams of the central inverter and also the string inverter. It's let's go with the central inverter first. Central inverter obviously offer high reliable and simplicity of the installation. However, they have also some of the disadvantages. Increased mismatch, lost send, absence of the maximum power point tracking for each screen, and they may cause problem for arrow set. It's multiple types and orientation angles, suffering from the shading or use different model types. And the central inverter is usually 3-phase and can include great frequency transformers. These transformers increase the weight and also the volume of the inverters, although they provide galvanic isolation from the grid. In other words, there is no electrical connection between the input and output voltage. A connection that is sometimes required by national electrical safety regulations. So central inverters are sometimes used in max level configurations. This means that some inverters shut down when the radiation is low, allowing the others to work closely to optimal loading. So in total, the advantages of central inverter is mostly rely on the high reliability, and also there is just one device for the whole system. Very easy solution, very easy to design, and in total cheaper per watt price, which is also the largest advantage of the central inverter. As we're talking about the string inverter, in contrary, the string inverter concept uses multiple inverters for multiple strings of the models, like the Omnic 20K, which we have been applying this for the multi-megawatt application. For each 20 kilowatt application, we have 2 MPPT. So for different orientation or tidal angles, we can apply for the different type of model, or even totally different technology of the model. The string inverter are increasingly being used as they can cover a very wide power range and can be manufactured more cheaply in a production line than central inverters. Additionally, they provide MPPT on string level I talked before, with all strings being independent of each other. This is useful in cases where the models cannot be installed with the same orientation and where models of different specifications are being used or when there are scheduling issues. So in case, I think for the central inverters, normally they always with a transformer. Transformer can give the isolation between the DC and the AC, but it's also increasing the cost and also increasing, it will be decreasing the total efficiency of the inverter. And well, it matters in the total system efficiency, but for string inverters, that's not the case. And also, very important of the shedding effect. String inverter is made to solve this kind of problem. Even for those very large ground systems, you can see here they still have the shedding effect. So if one part of the total system is being shadowed, it will be, let's make example, 500 kilowatt or even 1 megawatt. See, if we are talking about central inverters, this part of system will not work for a certain period of time. But for string inverters, it might just affect for like 10 kilowatt or even less. So string inverter in this case is more fitable for those complicated terrains or complicated installation conditions. So about advantages of the string inverters, obviously there will be less extra costs. We don't need any distribution boxes. We can just put it into back of the panel, so it will be no need for special foundations or the house and cooling systems. And there will be less cabling because normally the string inverter will be very close to the panels where we put the installation, and it will be lighter and easier to install, and we will go into more pictures later to be easier for you to understand. And string inverter is very flexible for the installation design. It could be worked with different types of PV models, which is the biggest advantage of string inverters. And obviously, it gives a higher efficiency as we do not need a transformer. And we also give the higher power generation as we speak of the efficiency. It will highly reduce the mismatch of the panels. And yeah, it will also give you a very lower starting voltage, so it works more time during the day, also lead to much higher of the generation. And it's easier to maintenance. It makes sense if you have some backup inverters that just near your installation, so if there is anything wrong, you just replace it. You don't have to waste a lot of time waiting for the technician to come to site and do the maintenance for a central inverter. Very easy to change. Normally, you only need 1 or 2 men there to do all the maintenance. So it reduces your human labor cost too, which is, I believe, very high in some countries, not in China. So more digging into here. I think we can enlarge a little bit. So in total, the string inverter will drive down installation costs a lot, and also easy to maintenance. You just need a van and one technician and will do all the job. And well, for a lot of inverters that is used right now, we also have a higher yield than the central inverter as we have the higher efficiency. And minor effects if you know there is an inverter breakdown in the field, as we are very concentrate on this part. And I think that's much. Thank you. Any questions?